Hello everyone, this is Major Green, also known as Nitpicking Nerd, and today I want to talk about Patrick Stewart's upcoming appearance on the Orville, which I'm really looking forward to seeing. Now obviously he won't be playing Captain Picard because they can't do that, this is not actually Star Trek, so they can't steal the characters, but I want to kind of theorize what I think or hope will be his cameo appearance. And maybe it will actually come true, because a lot of other stuff in this show was exactly the kind of stuff that I would do, exactly the kind of stuff that I wanted to see, and so maybe this will also come true. Maybe great minds think alike, so maybe what I suggest will be exactly what happens. And just to clarify, I have no info at all about what his cameo appearance will actually be. So this is purely my own speculation. And his appearance will be not this week, it will be in the next week's episode, which will also be the season finale. Now, obviously we cannot see Captain Picard, but in many ways this show is almost like a sequel series to the older Star Trek shows. Many things in this show is exactly what Star Trek should have done before doing prequels, and I'm not against prequels that much, but I think they should have done that much later. They should have first finished the existing storylines, revisited some of the characters that we love, before going back into a prequel or a reboot. So it's very disappointing that Star Trek kind of gave up on the Prime timeline and instead they're doing prequels and reboots and all that stuff. And the Orville is the kind of show that should have been the continuation of the older Star Trek. It's set in the 25th century. The whole visual style of it is like the older Star Trek shows. So it could have been a very good sequel series. And in some ways it's good that it's its own thing, because this way they don't have to follow any existing continuity and they can start fresh. They don't have to show the same old species and planets. They can do everything completely fresh. And of course as a comedy they can do whatever the hell they want, so it offers a whole bunch of new possibilities which wouldn't exist if it was a serious Star Trek series. So in many ways it's a good thing that the Orville is the way it is. But if it would have been an actual Star Trek sequel, it would also have worked, I think. It could have been a great Star Trek show. And one of the things that I always wanted to see in a sequel show or movie is to see some of the old characters back, and especially Captain Picard, who in many ways is my favorite character, and I always kind of wanted to see him in a higher position of power. I wasn't happy that he was just a captain. I always thought that he would be perfect in some kind of much higher leadership role, maybe even as the president of the Federation, something epic like that, because I think he has what it takes, and I think he kind of represents the best of Star Trek. He kind of represents the very best of humanity, what humanity should be, what the Federation should be. And so how great would it be, what a nice send-off it would be to his character and to the whole show if he actually became the president of the Federation. So that is something that I kind of had in my mind whenever thinking about the future of Star Trek. I always kind of imagine, I wish we would see Picard as the president one day. And he even kind of looks like the president which we saw in Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. So I always kind of imagine him dressed as that president and being the president. How great would that be? How cool would that be? So that's what I always wish we would see in a future TV series or a movie, to at least have a small cameo with Picard as president of the Federation. Not just an ambassador, that's not good enough in my opinion. I think he has what it takes to be the actual president. How epic would that be? Because, he was always a very good diplomat, he was very good with politics. He was always solving political problems, diplomatic problems. How great would it be if he was actually the president? And he represents all the best ideals of the Federation, all that stuff. He should be the one who is the policy maker of the Federation. That would be great. That would be the best possible send-off to his character and to the whole series. So obviously we will never see that happen in the actual Star Trek show, because obviously they kind of gave up on the Prime timeline. They prefer to do reboots, masquerading as prequels, but messing everything up. So it's obvious they will never go back to the Prime timeline, even though I still hope they do, maybe in an animated movie or a series. That would be great. That would also allow them to show characters like Data without them looking too old and stuff like that. So maybe it's still possible, maybe they'll still do it one day, but I doubt we'll ever see a live version of that. We'll never see Picard again, probably. And since the Orville is kind of like the substitute Star Trek, it's kind of like the real Star Trek should be, maybe they'll do something like that with Patrick Stewart. So my theory is, and again I have no idea if that's what they will actually do, but my hope is that on the Orville we'll see Patrick Stewart appear as the president of the Planetary Union. And that would kind of fulfill partially that wish I had of seeing Picard as the president. So we won't see Picard, but at least we'll see Patrick Stewart in that kind of role. So I think that would be great, that would be epic. And as for the actual storyline, maybe they'll do something like they show him, making a speech or something, and he's extremely smart, charismatic, all that stuff. And then maybe the Orville needs to escort him to somewhere. Maybe the Orville is sent to escort the president of the Union from one planet to another, something like that. And then they'll all get to meet the president, and then they'll all be very excited. They'll all be saying, "Oh my God, the president is on our ship. I so want to meet our president." You know, they'll kind of behave like the way that Star Trek fans behave when meeting Patrick Stewart. They really want to shake his hand and they take selfies with him and stuff like that. So maybe the Orville crew will kind of behave like that, being very excited of having the president of the Union on their ship. But then when they meet him in person, maybe he's an a-hole, or maybe he's kind of stupid. Maybe it turns out that all his speeches were written for him. Maybe he's an idiot in real life, or very annoying. That would be very funny. You know, it's a comedy, so they have to do something very funny with him. So maybe they will all think he's such a great guy, but then when they meet him in person, then he's a complete scumbag or stuff like that. Now, I don't want them to ruin him too much. I don't want him to be a total villain, but I do want him to do something comedic, something funny. So what I hope they will do is maybe show that maybe he has Alzheimer or some kind of mental illness, that maybe he's pretending to the public to be all good the way he was before when younger, but secretly he has Alzheimer or some other mental disease, and now the Orville crew are kind of in a dilemma of what to do with him. How can they let such an unstable leader stay in office and not have the public knowing? Maybe someone is manipulating the president, maybe someone is writing his speeches for him and pulling his strings and he's like a puppet. Maybe the Orville crew discover that and try to stop it. Maybe they'll find a cure for him and cure him or something like that. So I wish he would have a very big role in the episode, of having him like the leader of the Union, something like that, and hopefully it will have a happy ending. So anyway, that's my speculation. So I hope we will see him in a kind of leadership position, and if not the Union, maybe we'll see him as a president of some planet. That would also be fun. So that's what I would do if I was running the show. I would definitely put him into that kind of role, and it has a lot of potential to be really funny. Maybe he sees himself as some kind of superior lord or something like that. Or maybe he's very good and charismatic when he's making public speeches, but when they see him in person, he's kind of an a-hole or an idiot or mentally ill or something like that. That could be very funny. I know Patrick Stewart can pull it off. He played a lot of crazy characters, especially recently, and I think he enjoys playing stuff like that. So that's my speculation. So that's my wish. I wish we would see him in some kind of epic leadership position with some kind of nasty behind-the-scenes characteristics. So that's what I would do. So that's my theory. I'm probably way off, so we'll see in a week what will actually happen. And let me know what you think. What would you want to see him as? What do you think should be his cameo? What kind of characters do you think he will play? Let me know in the comments, and we can discuss it in the comments below. That's all for today, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.